What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a special Saturday edition of the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. I'm Eric, Mr. Cincinnati Robinson. As always, I'm joined by the podcast dad himself, Chris Hoops. Shoops, how you doing, man?
I'm doing a little bit better. I'm still nursing the voice. I have my halls. I have my water. So I'm hoping it doesn't die on me like it did on Thursday night. But I'm excited because we have a guest, and I'm
Yes,
gonna let him do all the talking tonight. Or I guess this morning.
absolutely.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
no,
guys.
we're not used to this morning, not used to the morning stuff here, but we are joined by Wrestlers Lab promoter Chris Ruiz. Chris, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
Good. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. Things are obviously, as you can imagine, pretty hectic right now. It's been that way for the past week or so, but I'm glad to be able to talk wrestling and just hop on a podcast. I just called one of you guys pretty recently, but obviously doing big things, so it's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Wrestlers Lab has a big show coming up tomorrow, Showabunga 2. This is their second Showabunga event. But let's rewind it a little bit. Tell us about the origins of Wrestlers Lab.
So Wrestlers Lab started as corny as it is to say, as an experiment in independent wrestling. So I was initially working with a different promoter and a different promotion entirely, and I threw out this idea of what if I started this brand where I could do free pre-shows as sort of like an incentive to people to come out to the main show, and as I pitched that, he was like, "Oh, that sounds cool with me. We'll do 45 minutes to an hour, maybe 3 or 4 matches." And then I kind of just dove in head first. And my whole concept was that Wrestlers Lab would be sort of like this revolving door of new talent. So people that weren't typically booked in the New York, New Jersey area. So within the first, so these are free pre-shows. Within the first maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 events, we had accumulated 20 or so New York, New Jersey debuts, people who had never wrestled New York, New Jersey. Grim's gonna be like,
Yeah.
So and going back to day one, Grim was there. Day one, show one. It was Mr. Grim and Hippie Dickie Moon, which was the standout match of that initial show. So Grim is literally a day one guy, our first champion, our longest reigning champion. So good to see you.
What up?
Yeah, Grim. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're getting started with the origin story of Wrestlers Lab, and definitely want to get into your origin story when it comes to professional wrestling. So, how did you first hear about Wrestlers Lab?
I think Chris hit me up. One day, I get a message and it's like, "Hey, I'm starting up this organization called Wrestlers Lab. It's like an experimental thing. We're doing pre-shows. How would you like to do it?" I was like, "Whatever." And I don't think I've ever worked in New York before, so I was like, there's a first. Why not?
Yeah, I saw Grim, destroying somebody on an old CZW Dojo Wars show back in the day. So that's where I originally caught him, and I was doing scouting a little bit everywhere, but I think Dojo Wars was sort of like an early framework, because what they were doing was sort of introducing these newer people, and I guess sort of getting a sense of how they would do on the main CZW shows. So when I called Grim, I was like, yeah, I got to get this dude on my show, and the rest is history, because he's been with us ever since.
Yeah, I think so. My first exposure to Grim was on Twitter, and I saw a clip of you doing a 450, and it's one of the most magnificent 450s I think that I've ever seen. So it's awesome that everyone on the chat has gravitated towards you because of something that you've done in the ring. So no, that's super awesome. So Showabunga is coming up this weekend. Let's talk about this match card here. Take us through what we've got going on for those that are not familiar with Wrestlers Lab. Let's break down these matches.
Yeah, we can start. With match 1. Just I want to let people know that 3:00 sharp will be starting, and we're kicking it off with Erica Lee facing off with Gabby Forza, the Nomi. So that's going to be a really, really cool one. A lot of fun. They're both obviously beloved competitors. So to see 2 crowd favorites going head to head in a match that has never happened before, I'm really excited about. And Nomi is a debut. Erica's been with us for quite a bit, so it's going to be interesting because Erica's coming off of unsuccessfully challenging for the Wrestlers Lab Championship against Eel O'Neill, and that was actually her first L in the lab. So she's trying to like redeem herself. And Nomi's coming in red hot, like she's doing big things right now. So I'm excited for that one.
Oh,
Hold
yeah.
on now,
Okay.
Grim.
Awesome.
You got
Awesome.
you got a little smile on your face when
Uh-oh.
that name was mentioned. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that.
Well, no. It's just funny that he's talking about Erica Lee, had opportunity for the Wrestlers Lab Championship. When I'm like, I've been killing people for like a while now, and I still haven't been putting, the talk. So I just want to know what all did she do to deserve that I haven't. But that's on another day. We're not going to talk about
Hey,
that right now.
listen. We're paying attention, man. We're paying attention. We're analyzing everything that's going to happen tomorrow, and then we're moving forward from there. I won't reveal anything, but there's plans, and our eyes are on every single match on the card. Every match is important. So you got Trey first, so you got to focus on Trey Shaw because that guy is hungry. He's ready, and I don't know. I didn't see much of a response to what he had to say about you. No friends, no brothers. All this.
I'm
All
gonna
this.
put it like this. I lost my grandfather like about a week and a half ago. So I've been kind of worried about focus on the funeral, being there for my family. I mean, it was very unfortunate that it happened when it did, but I'm just now getting to the point where I'm like trying to get back on social media. So I mean, I saw
Sure,
it.
sure.
It's just it was a lot. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that's understandable for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I have to ask you this, Grim. You're wrestling's hitman for hire, and you body bag your opponents. How'd you come up with this, man?
Well, to be honest, the body bag thing came from Nala Rose. Um, the Hitman for Hire part. So I used to have a football gimmick, and it was couple of people on the indie scene who had a football gimmick. So I didn't get bookings because they were already working with that company. So what I did is I looked around the indie scene, like a lot of organizations to see what kind of gimmicks were out there. I saw bounty hunters, I saw assassins, but I really didn't see anybody that was calling themselves a hitman. So I was like, you know what? Back in my neighborhood gang days, I was technically their hitman because I wasn't a person who would jump anybody. Like I would fight 1-on-1. So they knew that I
Yeah,
didn't jump anybody. If they had an issue, they'd be like, "All right, cool. You put your man against my man, and we kind of go from there." So I was the guy that they would call, when they wanted a 1-on-1 fight just to see who was the best, at that time. So I mean, it was relatable because a lot of people come up with gimmicks that they just think it's cool. I came up with a gimmick that I could really relate to, and Mr. Grimm, the Grimm name came from my friend who passed away. Um, so when I was younger, I used to like skulls, and he was like, "Man, you over there, the Grim Reaper," and we would talk all the time, and he would tell me, I told him how I want to be a wrestler. He was like, "Look, man, I see you really you into this wrestling stuff, man. When you have your first match, I'm gonna be there." But he ended up getting killed. So just to pay homage to him, I had Grim in there, so it's like he's always with me no matter where I go. But the
love
body
that.
bag thing, because Nyla Rose, she helped me develop the new character as well. And one day I'm just sitting minding my own business, and then she calls me. It was like, Grim, Amazon has body bags on sale for $20. Like, look, take that
You gotta
information,
love Amazon.
bruh. She was like, take that information and do what you will with it, and then hung the phone up. I was like, so I immediately went to Amazon,
That's
bought a body
fantastic.
bag. Yeah, the first body bag I got, it wasn't like the one that I have now. It was kind of more so like I wouldn't say plastic, but funny story about the first guy that I body bagged. Like the match is over, I body bag him, and it's like once you zip it up, it's no holes, so you could literally see like the bag like starting to blow up
Yeah.
with air, and like he's in there, and he's like, yo, I can't breathe. Like, and he's shaking and stuff, telling me he can't breathe, and I'm trying to like
Oh,
play it off, like, and he's literally in there dying, and I have to like hurry up.
oh, Jesus.
So look, I open the body bag in the back, and then all this steam comes out of it. I'm like, yo,
Oh.
oh man,
Live in the gimmick. Live in the gimmick.
That's right.
bro, got to.
Oh man. So we've already talked about one match. What else do we have on the rest of this card tomorrow?
So aside from Grim and Trey, which is going to be probably one of the hardest hitting matches that you will ever see, I'll jump over to something else that's hard hitting in an entirely different way, which will be the 5-on-5 Mecha Mayhem match, which evolved into fans bring the weapons match. So that's going to be pretty crazy. First time we've ever done that. I was hesitant to pull the trigger on that, but I think people are going to be stick within the guidelines. I hope and it'll be a lot of fun. the head shaking is great. So I'll talk, right, and I'll explain something, and Grim will shake his head, and then we'll go over to him. Like that'll be like, let's cut over to our broadcast colleague Grim with his head shaking.
So I have to ask this: what parameters were set for the fans as far as what they bring?
So I mean, listen, Showabunga 2 is a fan, not a fan, a kid-friendly environment. So I'm trying to make sure there's nothing, mature audiences only. Definitely don't want. We're not like a glass. Okay.
So I thought you were going a different direction on that one. I didn't think glass was the next thing to come out of your mouth.
Hey, I'm not going to specify. Once I said no mature objects, I'm not going to get deeper into, But yeah, because we've seen it all. It's all out there, and I just had to, be specific about what not to bring. But yeah, we are shying away from glass, from sharp metal objects. We don't need anybody like actually getting impaled with anything at all. So yeah, and then we went with like messy stuff. Like, please don't bring glitter, or food, or liquids, to be on brand with the Showabunga thing, I said no ooze, and I thought it was just like a funny little joke to throw in at the end, like don't bring ooze. Yeah. And everyone tried to create like a workaround for what type of slime adjacent things they can bring. Like, I'll bring Nickelodeon Gak, I'll bring Floam. I was like, listen, can we not like try to figure out a workaround for ooze? It was just a joke.
Yeah.
I think the real question is do we see a VCR?
Oh, did somebody? Trust me, I've gotten pictures of things that are being brought. Like somebody's bringing like an old Xbox 360.
That's gonna hurt.
Yeah, that's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Somebody did order Legos, so that's happening. So yeah, it's gonna be a time. My kid is donating his like a big giant warhammer, sledgehammer looking thing. So yeah, that'll be fun.
Very noble. Very noble.
Right. Yeah. It's like those video game memes where it's like, "Don't go alone. Take this with you." Like he's got the hammer.
That's man.
Nice.
Grim, you got four kids that don't have things to donate.
I don't even think any of my kids are coming. Like, I'm actually in Atlanta right now, so it's like I'll be flying out tonight to head back home to make sure I'm there in time. But yeah, I mean, about these weapons, just know I did a battle royal for CZW, and what was his name? Connor Claxton.
Yep.
Yeah, he pulls out a dildo. And like I have a picture, like you see, like I have a picture of me holding. I'm like, what? Like, really? So as soon as you said fans bring their own weapons, I'm just like, please, no, please don't.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I mean,
no.
Listen, I made a post. I made it very clear. I'm not looking to have all these kids that I've been leaning into the kid thing. Kids under 10 are free. I can't be telling all these parents, bring your under 10-year-olds to the show, and then all of a sudden things are flopping around. We don't need all that.
Remember, not all fans are on social media.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Listen, we'll figure it out at the gate, man.
Wise words.
Take that back to your car, please.
Oh
I
man.
just I can't wait to see I can't wait to see the pictures of what everybody brings. I mean, you already got me at Legos. Like it's just yeah, no, that's gonna be really really awesome. So what? Let's talk title matches. Is there any title matches on this card?
We have two. So we have. I'll start first with our collaborative championship match. So our current collaborative champions are the Outfielders. They'll be defending. It's their first title defense, and it'll be against Creeps. So that's Andy Ripley and Irving West.
Yeah,
So
Friends of the show.
Yeah.
yeah, Creeps are awesome. It's going to be a great match. I feel like they're very evenly, like two very evenly matched teams. And it's a match that both teams have actually really wanted for a while now. So that's always something that I'm happy to make happen when, there's like that information out there. Like, I really want this match. It's if I can do it, I always try to.
Love that. That's awesome.
And
So
then
I'm gonna take a break from breaking down the card real quick and just ask you, like, logistically, how hard was it to get everything together? Like, were you on the phone night and day? Like, what goes into that for those who don't know what goes into booking a show?
There's some promotions out there that have are fortunate enough or do well enough that they're booking, like a month out. Like they're doing one show and then they're starting to book another show that's happening 4 weeks later. And that's something that we're definitely working towards. That would be awesome to be able to pull that off. But right now we're like at probably like a 3 or 4 month, minimum, in terms of like, so we're like starting to put the pieces together at least 4 months out as far as reaching out to people, seeing availability and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it's really a night and day thing, but I'm kind of make it a night and day thing for myself, with like the graphics, just making the announcements, being very, very active on social media. Like I try to, like this one in particular, I started doing TikToks, which I had never done before. So like, I just really like to, be like cover all bases. Like if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter/X, if you're on TikTok, I just want to make sure that there's no reason for people not to see something about this show, So yeah, I would say that the actual part, like booking it, getting the talent all involved and the referees and everybody else, that's comes a little bit easier, and then everything else is sort of like just building up hype,
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then last minute, like we're in the final week, so I mean things now start coming up because when people realize the show's on Sunday, it's like, if something comes up where somebody doesn't feel well, like we just tell people, listen, take care of yourself. Like your physical, your mental, whatever, your well-being is like top priority. So I would never want people to feel like, oh, I owe it to Wrestlers Lab. I have to be there, despite the fact that you feel X, Y, and Z kind of way. Like so, card subject to change and all that. Like it can be tough, but we just kind of roll with the punches.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of get into it and kind of hear the story of booking an independent show. So I'll let you get back into the card here.
Oh no worries. The other championship match is, so our main event obviously is the Wrestlers Lab champion Eel O'Neill is defending against Trevor Eon. So at our last event in July, Trevor won a 14-man battle royal to, earn that title shot. So this essentially is sort of like a do or die moment for Trevor. This is the third time he's challenging for the Wrestlers Lab championship, and so there we go. All right, so be attentive to the laugh, and then we'll get back to it for the but yeah, it's going to be a really great main event.
Grim.
Let's go. Yeah, let's get into it.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Like Trev is a hell of a competitor, and just seeing him back in the position, it really just goes to show how he's progressed. Because I mean, he's won against me like a couple of times, and has never defeated me. And like every time we went out there, it was like you never know what to expect with Trev. I mean, and it's just funny when he said this is his third time, and I'm just like, just go back to it was one thing that we did where he goes to do a front flip on me, and I grab him, and then just power bombs him like on a stack of chairs, and it's like they have a picture of him just flying, and you just see like the people trying to move out the way, and I'm just like, yo, he came a long way, and I'm like, I'm really happy, to see Trev back in this position. I really hope he, prevails.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, you've got me sold on this. I mean, we're in Ohio, and wish we could be there now. I mean, you guys are cooking something here, and absolutely love that.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So as far as logistics for tomorrow, doors open at 2:00, bell time's 3. Where can everybody find that's in the area? Where can they find this event?
As far as if you're not able to make it and be out there in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, then the show will end up going up on YouTube for free. I would say give it about 3 or 4 weeks before that happens, but because we have the guy filming, Scotty Swemba, he films for Enjoy Wrestling, and he's like just a master of his craft. So if he says it's going to take 4 weeks, if he says it's going to take 6 weeks, whatever it is, like I trust his process because I know that the end result will be amazing. But yeah, the show will be up for free in its entirety on YouTube, all like one video, not like broken up into matches. Our last event, which he also filmed, 7 Years of Science, that's up currently. So like if anybody out there is not familiar with the product and wants to get caught up on the last thing that we did, 7 Years of Science is our 7-year anniversary event. So that was a ton of fun. That was out in Pittsburgh that we did that one. So
Love that. That's fantastic. I mean, and again, I can't get over the aesthetics of the event posters. It just has that 90s nostalgia. You're wearing a Kirby shirt, like I feel like a kid again having this conversation here.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, Eric, shut up. I'm gonna talk to Grim for a second because he shared the video with me. I saw the 450. How? Why? How did you know you could do that? And then, like, what went into your mind going, I'm going to do a 450?
So basically, like I said, when I first started, I was reading the room, and a lot of people my size weren't doing like a lot of athletic things. They were doing moonsaults and house show dives. But I was like, how can I stand out? Because that's what it was about for me, not falling into the same category as, hey, we already have a person that can do this, we don't need you. Hey, we already have this gimmick, so we can't use you. So I'm like, what can I do to stand out? So it started off with my trainer, Matt Wild. One day, I was like, yo, I want to learn how to do a moonsault. And it was like, all right, cool. I can't do a moonsault, but I can tell you how to do a moonsault. So I was like, all right, cool. So he was like, yeah, just, stand straight and make sure like when you jump, you just go back and keep your head, just know your head is going to go where your eyes are, or your body's going to go where your head is. So I was like, all right, cool. I tried it and I went to the side a little bit. And then he was like, you almost got it. Try it again. So I did it. And at like 280 pounds, I'm doing a standing moonsault. So it was like, all right, cool. And then I was like, hey, what else can I do? So I was looking at people, and I forgot who I saw do a 450. I think it was Ricochet. I saw him do a 450, and I was like, I want to try this. So I went to it was like this it's this place called Riot City. Like they do training and stuff, and this guy named Nick, he showed me how to do the 450. And it's funny because it's still on Facebook right now. The very first time that I did a 450, landed it perfect, like perfect.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, it went from there. Then started trying to dive, and I mean, it was just like, what can I do to stand out? And the funny thing about it, if you like the 450, like I'm working on a standing 450, and I can do a 630 that I've never pulled out yet, and working on the Phoenix Splash. So it's a lot of stuff that I'm working on that, it's like for things like that, you got to pull it out in special moments. Like when I was at Enjoy, I don't know if you saw was that the 450 video you were talking about? The one when I was wearing the pink?
Yeah.
That was at Enjoy. It took me almost 2 years before I actually pulled that out with them.
Oh, wow.
And I'm trying to think, have I ever pulled out the 450 at Wrestler's Lab?
I'm almost positive that you did because I remember having a conversation with you backstage, and you were, essentially telling me.
Oh no, it was with Dickie Moon. Yeah, it was the first show that I did. I pulled it out and I missed it. Yep, I remember that.
Okay.
So I think I've only done it maybe once or twice there.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of things, that I'm just trying to cook up. Like I've been watching my old Wrestlers Lab matches, looking at moves that I've done in the past that I haven't been doing now. And this coming up match, I'm probably gonna incorporate some of the older stuff that I've been doing because it's like, why not?
Yeah. Love it. I mean,
I
it
just I had
draw
to ask.
inspiration, and everything's cyclical, and that's the one thing about wrestling right now that's so awesome is that, especially in storytelling, the callbacks to past spots, matches, promos, etc. So the fact that you're bringing that to your repertoire and gearing up for tomorrow, love that.
It's always about, just looking at what you've done in the past, like it's trials, tribulations, failing, succeeding, and just always evolving yourself. And that's one thing that I've done a great, I've done really good at trying to evolve myself and not becoming this guy who just keeps doing the same moves over and over for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And
Adapting
then
it. Yeah.
in terms of like the platform that I try to provide with the rest of the lab, I like to acknowledge the fact that other promotions exist. You know what I mean? Like some companies, it's like you go to them and you're expected to kind of like treat it like a clean slate, or you're coming in here and
Yeah.
it's like no, like you don't acknowledge other championships, you don't acknowledge other accomplishments or other storylines. But like to me, I think it's more interesting to kind of take inspiration from everything that a performer has done throughout their career, and like why not acknowledge that that's their body of work. You know what I mean? Like that's what makes them who they are. All the things that they've accomplished before they got to your promotion is like what other reason did you bring them in? You know what I mean? So like to me, whoever somebody is before they walk through your doors, like that's it should be reflected in like how you book them as well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, as we wrap up here, we've got Showabunga tomorrow. What else can people look forward to as far as Wrestlers Lab's calendar this spring?
So we definitely there's like very very serious discussion about our next date, and it's looking like we're kind of zeroing in on something. I can't confirm right now,
Sure.
but just because we're zeroed in, we're tunnel vision right now on tomorrow. So we want to get past that day and then be ready to like dive into something new. But it's definitely just about there. So for sure we'll be back sooner than people realize.
Awesome. Well, Grim, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. You can check out Wrestlers Lab on YouTube. Showabunga will be coming up in the coming weeks as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This was a fantastic conversation, and give them hell this weekend. Looking forward to seeing the end product, and hope to have you guys back on again soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
Appreciate it.
course. For Mr. Grimm, for Chris Ruiz, for the podcast dad, Chris Hoops, I'm Mr. Cincinnati. Guys, stick around for a couple minutes after the stream here, but thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. Make sure to like, make sure to share, make sure to subscribe. If you know one person that would enjoy our podcast, share it with them. We're trying to grow this community, and we're trying to do it in a positive way, and we want anybody that wants to enjoy our product. So, make sure to check out our merch store as well. Subscribe to the Main Event Network on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, basically all social media platforms. Thank you guys so much for enjoying a special Saturday edition of the Wrestling Junkies Podcast, and we'll be talking to you guys soon.
Thank you.